And it's capping the year of the death of the superhero movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fatigue was the word that we were using for so long.
Yeah.
And I don't know if someone could pass away from fatigue.
Yeah.
But that is what has happened. The superhero movies are not fatigued. They are dead.
Dead. See, my thought there is...
Except for Batman, of course, Joker, and, you know. But just the general, like, if we throw a cape on anything that's going to do Bafa Bobo, that's dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's dead.
Yeah.
It's dead. Because Aquaman made $1 billion worldwide, the first one. The first one opened, quote unquote, disappointingly to 80-something million in its 3-day weekend. I don't know what year it came out, 2018, I think.
Mm-hmm.
This is opening to a 3-day of, what did you say there for the 3-day weekend? 27. It's dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's dead. No one wanted this Lost Kingdom movie. I mean, the post-track numbers, 69% positive and 3 stars, less than the Marvels.
Yeah.
People like these movies less than they did 2 months ago. You know, it's totally a dead genre. Warner Brothers did not give a flying hoot about this movie. You know, they opened it, they did a premiere on the Knights of Columbus and gave out, you know, chicken fingers and cold mashed potatoes for the premiere. They had Jason Momoa there passing out high C. I don't know. You know, it's dead. It's dead. Do you think it's alive?
No. I mean, I've been the biggest proponent of this happening for the longest time, and I think everybody was still deluding themselves that this was going to be different. This movie was going to be different because people like Jason Momoa, and it's Aquaman, and it's James Wan, and that movie did $1 billion. I knew this thing wasn't going to do anything because people are done with superhero movies that aren't Spider-Man, aren't Batman, aren't Joker, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's true. And I'm going to just do we got a little email, boots on the ground, from one of Be Boy Marcus, who, one of the great emailers.
Yes.
He also gave us heads up about Solar and said it could do around 6. So he basically nailed it. So he said he went to see Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
It was a sparsely attended screening, and I'd say the audience energy was kind of low. Not really any laughs or much reaction to the film throughout. A couple people seated near me got up to leave the second the movie was done, not waiting for the mid-credit scene. And good on them, the mid-credit scene is the dumbest thing imaginable. Now, he says he's not a movie critic, but he wanted to express some thoughts about how these superhero movies have gotten to be this dire. And there's another bad guy you have to stop. And then they add all this gobbledygook that makes no sense and has no sort of real resonance in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so regular general audiences aren't wanting to follow some sort of continuity.
Right.
And it's just CGI gobbledygook.
Right. I mean, he says, he goes on to describe a scenario in which his mom, who I'm sure is a great woman because she raised a great emailer.
Yes.
And he cannot imagine his mom ever seeing Quantumania, the Marvels, Aquaman 2. He says she would tune out immediately from the stupid nonsense about the silly multiverse technobabble. She would just have to sit there for 3 hours with no idea of what the hell is happening on screen in a jumbled CGI visual mess. And then he says, I hope she never has to go through that. Marcus, we pray.
Yeah.
You know, on this Christmas week, Clayton and I are doing a lot of praying, and we pray that your mother never has to sit through superhero techno-babble, multiverse nonsense. We pray for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's a great test. I think we have to use the mom test for certain movies to see, would your mom understand this?
Right. Because as he said earlier, Top Gun Maverick passes that mom test, you know, and I think there was a time when superhero movies did pass that mom test because I used to take my mom to some of these. She liked seeing the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. She's seen a Captain America movie. She saw Doctor Strange, and that was pushing it.
That's pushing it.
She enjoyed the first one, not a multiverse of madness. She enjoyed an original Doctor Strange gets into a car accident, gets powers, that kind of. moms don't want to sit through this. Dads don't want to sit through this.
No.
And he says at the end of this email, another great email from Marcus, children even still follow these movies? And then that's when these superhero movies get to what you say the Pixar movies are at, which is they just become for sad 40-something-year-old men who won't let it die.
And that
is what Aquaman is at. I mean, we're going to go through the day-by-days in a bit, but just talking about Aquaman, it had the disappointing opening weekend, $28 million 3-day, $40 million 4-day. And then if you start looking through these day-by-days for the weekday results, on Monday, it goes to number 2. We'll get to what the number 1 on Christmas Day was in a bit. On Tuesday, it's number 2. On Wednesday, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom falls to number 3 in the daily rankings for this past Wednesday, December 27th. You know, these, and that's what we have up to right now are the Wednesday results. Aquaman is not going to have big legs.
No.
You know, it's doing the fact that every day this week is a weekend, it's going to make extra money because of when it opened. But it is not charting number 1. It is immediately not the choice of the moviegoers.
No flippers on this Aquaman. And that is the big thing that's going on right now in this box office, this Christmas box office, is that in a different world, in a past world, this is the big movie.
Yes.
This is the big movie.
Yes.
It's the big whale. It's the shark. And all the other guppies are swimming around it. Now, Wonka's a big guppy, making lots of money. Color Purple, we'll talk about it. Another big guppy. But Aquaman should have been the man.
It should have been the
man. And
man.
It's not. And that is bad for box office because this movie should be number 1 with a bullet. Number 1 by a far stretch. And then the runoff should go to the other movies.
Yes.
But that's not happening.
Yes. This should be The Force Awakens, and Wonka should be the Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle.
And then you would have, you know, Anyone But You being sisters.
Yes, exactly. Except is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, is that sisters? You know, is that the number 3 movie this holiday season, the way Sisters was the number 3 movie the year that Star Wars Force Awakens opened? It feels that way. It feels like it's like the third choice during the week. It's coming in number 3 by Wednesday.
Yeah.
Listen, this movie is at, as of Wednesday, $52.4 million. There is a good chance that this movie doesn't get to $100 million domestic. I mean, it might just because it's got so many weekend days that it's going to play through like next Monday, Tuesday. And the fact that January's so slow, like it's going to keep IMAXs by default.
Yeah.
I don't know if Night Swim is going to take all the IMAXs, probably not. So this is default money for Aquaman. This is not money based on people wanting this.
But it's not going to do well enough just by the act of there's nothing else for this to say maybe we were early on calling the end of this trend.
No, it's over.
It's over.
It's over. It's over, Johnny.